That woman who beat her son to death, her 14-year-old son to death, for not having completed his chores when she returned home after work. She beat him with an extension cord for over an hour to the point where the boy fell, hit his head, was unresponsive, and she continued to beat on him for another 5 minutes.
There's a mom that beat her son. Like, she beat her son till he passed out. She beat her son to death. A 14-year-old son, just because he did not do the cleaning in the house very well. He did not clean the house the way she wanted it, or probably didn't even clean the house at all before she got back from work. She started beating him so he stopped breathing. It took her 5 minutes before she was able to call 911 to, for they took the child to the hospital and realized that he was already unalived. Let me show you all this video.
Mary, a defense attorney went as far today as asking a judge to release this woman from custody, saying she's dealing with the trauma of the loss of her son, the same son who she is accused of beating for not doing his chores. There's a broken window at the home where police say a mother killed her 14-year-old son. A jail report says the woman told investigators her son did not complete his chores and she was angry. After an hour of beating the boy, police say he went unresponsive and the woman waited 5 minutes before calling 911. The boy went to the hospital where he died. The mother was booked into jail for murder.
Is he young? Is she intending to come out? Oh, no, Your Honor.
At a bail hearing Friday afternoon, the mother refused to appear in court. Despite that, her public defender argued for her to be released from custody.
Given her limited history, and the fact that it appears that she cooperated with law enforcement, and the fact that she has very limited resources, I believe she should be released.
The defense attorney said the woman is in grief at the loss of the son she is accused of killing.
I acknowledge the seriousness of these facts, but this also involves a mother losing her son and significant trauma she's experiencing from that. I also argue there'll be additional trauma on top of that if she's incarcerated.
Police outlined the disturbing attack in a report, saying the woman mercilessly beat her child for an hour, including using an extension cord to spank him.
This assault happened over an hour. A 14-year-old child, extension cords. He struck his head, he lost consciousness, and she continued to beat him, and then failed to call for emergency services.
Neighbors we spoke to said they didn't know the family well and they hadn't seen any issues at the home until now. So we're not naming the woman yet because she hasn't been charged. Prosecutors say they expect that to happen by next Tuesday.
When I talk about having kids, being a mom, and having children, some people don't get it when I say that not everybody deserves to have kids. Not everybody should have a child. Some people might say I sound very sensitive, or I sound like, I don't know, probably I'm disturbed or something. How can you, as an adult, be very angry and you transfer your anger in beating your child to death, till the child stop breathing? Do you know the crazy part of it? Why this video is very annoying to me is because when I saw the video of somebody talking about it, I had to go and search for the video because I wanted to, see the woman that did it. On searching for the video, I saw so many other videos of mothers that have unalived their child because of this. I saw one, a 3-year-old child that was unalived, yes, by her mother as well. I saw one, the woman, she's on a big size, and she sat on I think the boy is 7 years old. The boy was 7 years old because he also died as well. She sat on him. Imagine somebody weighing so much weight. She's so big, and you're sitting on a 6-year-old boy till the boy stopped breathing. The thing is, that one was not even her son. That she adopted the child, so it's not a biological child. So many other ones that I'm seeing, I'm like, is this a thing? that women just put to bed and have children and will just be like, okay, I'm done with this child. I want to unalive this child. Let me show you some reaction on this video, then we'll come back and talk about it.
That woman who beat her son to death, her 14-year-old son to death, for not having completed his chores when she returned home after work. She beat him with an extension cord for over an hour to the point where the boy fell, hit his head, was unresponsive, and she continued to beat on him for another 5 minutes before she really realized that he was unresponsive. She went to work. She had a bad day at work. She probably had a bad week, whatever. And she proceeded to come home and crash out on her son. And this is the shit that we talk about when we say that not all of you guys deserve to be parents, because you really do look at your children as this like punching bag. You guys look at them as this release for your frustration. There's no way in hell y'all could tell me that she was beating him only because of the fact that he did not complete his chores. No, she was beating him because she probably had a bad day at work. She probably got into an argument with a lover, a family, a friend, whatever. She probably has a lot on her plate, whatever, but she doesn't know how to regulate her emotions. And so she came home and she beat her 14-year-old son to death. And now she's asking for sympathy, talking about that she wants time and she wants to be released so that she can grieve the loss of the son that she killed. Like, y'all be doing too much, and then y'all want to laugh at other people when they say that they want to exercise gentle parenting. Now, I'm not saying that gentle parenting is the best, you understand? I think that everything needs to be shaped, towards the child that you're dealing with. Sometimes you need to hit them on their ass, you understand? And sometimes you got a kid where talking to them thoroughly is, just as effective. But there's a reason why a lot of the new day, these new millennial or Gen Z parents don't want to use corporal punishment, because we realize that a lot of our parents was taking out their frustration and their anger with other adults or other factors that they could not control, and they were using us as a fucking punching bag to relieve that stress and that frustration. And a lot of you guys have that mindset of, it was done to me, and I'm okay, so I'm gonna do it when I have my kid. No, a lot of y'all should not be fucking parents. And honestly, I hope God deals with you. I do. I hope you repent, Miss Lady. But I do hope God deals with you. I hope he does, because you should have never let your heart get so wrapped up into anger to the point where you crashed out on your son like that.
To all of my parents out here who are still chastising your kids with switches, belts, extension cords, flip-flops, any of it, this message for you. So I came across a story on the internet where this lady came home and her 14-year-old son had not completed his chores. So she decides to get an extension cord and go at him for over an hour with this extension cord. In the midst of her crashing out, he falls and hits his head. From there, he was unresponsive, but she still kept going. After about 5 minutes, once she finished going on this crash out, she decides to call 911. When they got there, he was in fact deceased. This is the thing for me when it comes to belts, switches, extension cords, etc. When it comes to physically hitting your kids, all I could think about is slavery days. Are y'all not really looking that deep into where did this act come from? Where did it come from? Who used to take something and go at somebody and just hit them with it? It came from slavery days. And the fact that some of you are really out here doing that to your kids is mind-blowing to me. It's not talked about much, but there are so many ways that people still have from back in slavery days. And I'm so glad that the further and further away from them generations we get, it becomes less and less and less. Like, for an example, when it comes to women that have daughters, a lot of women who were born in the 60s and under, they do not have good relationships with their daughters, including me and my mother. We do not have the best relationship. And this is the reason why I believe, this is just my personal opinion, the reason why I believe that a lot of women do not have good relationships with their daughters is because back in the day, in slavery days, women would call their daughters ugly and stupid and treat them like they were nothing because they didn't want the slave masters to think that they were this beautiful girl or they were so smart, because they would then be taken into the house or they would be sold away from the family or something. They needed them to think that these girls or whoever, even the sons, they needed them to think that they were slow, that they weren't beautiful. So all of this is learned behavior. And if you have not noticed, the closer we get, like the mothers that were born in the late 80s and the early 90s, they have good relationships with their daughters. That is if they were strong enough to want to be different from their mother. But I say all of that to say we have to really look deep into some of the stuff that we do and question, why are we doing it? Where did we learn this from? Who did this to us? Why did they do this to us? How can I change? How can I be different? Like, that's ridiculous. A 14-year-old kid has lost his life behind chores. She couldn't take his iPhone. She couldn't take his PlayStation. She couldn't take his Oculus. She couldn't take the J's away. Like, that's all she could do was grab an extension cord.
Please tell me you guys have heard the story about Denia Young, the lady out of Seattle, who unalived her 14-year-old son with an extension cord for not completing his chores. This monster beat her 14-year-old son for an hour with an extension cord until he fell over unresponsive, then waited 5 minutes to call 911. Stepdaddy and her other children were in the house. Stepdaddy didn't decide to intervene at all while the beating was taking place. And the most fucked up part, not only is she unalived this 14-year-old boy, her son, her public defender decided to go in on the bail hearing to ask for her to be released because she is going through grief because of her son. The same son that she unalived with a fucking extension cord for an hour. This boy had over 1,100 injuries to his body from an extension cord. Some people don't deserve children at all. They don't deserve children. It's just, how could you be so raged and do that to your child? How can you get so enraged and do that? It's fucking sad. This has got to be one of the saddest. I don't know. I can't even begin to grasp any of it. But if you have not heard about the story, go search it.
Not everybody deserves to have a child. Not everybody deserves to be parents. Not every woman should have children. Just because you can produce children, you can get pregnant and have kids, doesn't mean you should have it. There's some questions you need to ask yourself. There's some therapy you need to go. You need to ask yourself some things. Are you mentally ready to have kids? I understand the fact that you might be very angry at work and you can sometimes come back home with that kind of anger and knowing quite alright that your 14-year-old son was supposed to have done some things in the house that you've told them to do. We all have, let me talk about me. I have strict parents, especially if you're from Africa. You have strict parents that will tell you, do this, do this. So when you hear that your mom or your dad is coming back and you've not done what they told you to do, you're already panicking, or you just have to run away because they're going to beat you. Okay, gentle parenting was not a thing back where I was growing up, there's nothing like gentle parenting. It's now that I'm seeing gentle parenting that you can actually talk to a child like you're having a normal conversation. That was not how I was raised, and that was not how a lot of us were raised. Is it that they will whoop your ass, they beat you, give you punishments, and all of that, shout at you, scream at you. And sometimes, most of the time, when you see um, a mom talking to their child and shouting and screaming at their child, you can tell that the mom is frustrated, probably by the dad, probably by her life. She doesn't like her life, but she's now transferring all the old thing on those children. Those children are still small. Our children might be small and all of that, but it's sinking into their head and they feel like that is how life is. Imagine you passing all your aggression, your trauma on your child. They didn't force you to bring them to this world. You chose to bring these children to this world. So if you've not healed, you're not ready, there is no reason for you to force yourself like, okay, I must do this just because everybody is doing this. Anger is a very difficult thing. In fact, people go for anger management, control, anger control, and all of that. People learn to control their anger because it can lead to so many things that you cannot. Sometimes you cannot control your anger. It can make you do things that you regret later. So many things you regret later. But beating your child while you're angry to death, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but when I saw this news, I feel like I cried a little because I don't know, I feel very, very sensitive when it comes to things like that, especially when it comes to children that don't deserve. So you don't, they didn't ask for that kind of life, but they have it. So you go home just because your child did not clean the dishes or clean the house, you started beating your child. I'm not saying don't punish your child when they do something wrong. I'm not saying don't discipline your child, but there should be control. You beat the child for so long that your child passed away and you had to wait for 5 minutes before you can call for help. And some people are like, okay, they should not arrest her because she's mourning and all of that. Or probably she did not know the child was going to get unalive. There's something called anger control. And I just feel like adults should learn it. It might not even be with your child, maybe with your friends, maybe with your partner. It can be with anybody that wants to push a button. Always learn to just take a deep breath and try to take yourself out of that position or that situation so that you will not do so many things you will regret. I'm not saying your children cannot annoy you to the extent that you want to slap them or something. That sometimes somebody will just do something to you that you just want to beat them and just injure them and strangle them. Just if your head is already going on in your head just because you're very pissed. If you allow your emotions to control you, you can unalive people like that. Because I'm sure this is not the first time she's beating the child, so she feel like, oh, this is the way I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you, beat you, beat you. It might not be medically okay at that point. You don't even know because you just got back from work, and what is your take? And when I say women, sometimes when some women get pregnant that already have kids, and I question them now, why are you getting pregnant? Like, what happened? Is because when you see the way they take care of their children, or when you see their life, or how much they hate their lives, even with that one child or the two children they already have, yes, I'm going to question you. Why are you not thinking before doing it? I feel like we should normalize asking mothers, why are you pregnant? Because it is a normal thing. It is a normal thing for people to ask women that chose not to have kids, why don't you want to have kids? When you see a child tree by choice woman, the very first question you ask, like, why don't you want to have children? So why can't we normalize asking mothers, why are you pregnant? Why are you pregnant again? Why? Why are you pregnant again? Why do you want to have another child? Most of them don't have any reason. Most of them are having it because they want to keep their man. Most of them are having it for pressure, society. Most of them are having it because they feel like they don't want to be bored, or they feel I've asked some mothers that are pregnant, why are you pregnant? There's one very annoying response that I will never forget. They're like, I feel very loved when I'm pregnant. The attention I get when I'm pregnant, I like it. My husband likes me, my husband family likes me. Everybody want to do things for me. Everybody's clearing the road for me when I'm outside. Everybody's there for me. I like it. That's the only reason why this woman always get pregnant. Just because she likes the attention she gets when she's pregnant. Yeah, so most women don't get pregnant because of good reasons. They don't. They just do it for their selfish reasons. And when the child is out, there's no longer attention anymore. Most of the time, you only get that attention because you're pregnant. Anyways, what is your take on this situation? Can you share your thought down in the comment section? Respectfully, check out Mara Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you on my next one. Bye.